Hey friends, it's Stark here, and before I get into the video, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to wusstunes. I've come across their videos for a while now, and they are iconic both inside and outside the Melee space for the videos that they've made, and a couple key ones that I am being purposely vague about have helped inspire this video, which you'll soon see why, but their content and channel will be in the description. Please check them out if you're not already subscribed. They deserve millions, so thank you so much. And let's get into the video. Melee's been out for almost 3 decades. Dedicated players and labbers and fans alike have discovered almost every nook and cranny of the game in attempts to better understand what makes characters the best, the worst, and every stock in between. But lurking behind the great walls of Donkey Kong Renaissance media and mainstream Mango lies a character often looked at as one of the worst, as broken and unfinished. Yet, maybe by broken, they really mean capable of absurd things. Let's look at the competitive development of Game & Watch and Melee.
Mr. Game & Watch!
Game & Watch has historically been one of the least known characters to be included in the Melee roster. Living in the year 2024, where current kids attending school and playing games are born in the 2010s and beyond, Melee is quickly becoming a magnifying glass, looking into some of gaming's earliest cultural icons. That's right, we're relics now. And if we take a look at some of the examples of the Game & Watch gaming experiences, the Game & Watch games look pretty simple. It's almost like a McDonald's Happy Meal experience. Marth haters will say that his game plans are arguably more simple than the Game & Watch games. So it's no surprise if you've never really heard of Game & Watch prior to Smash. But he's been a present character in every game following Melee for the Smash series. And for those of you familiar with the landscape and competitive development of Project M or Smash Ultimate, you'll know that Game & Watch has quite the reputation beyond Melee as well. But let's go back to Melee. Game & Watch was the second final character designed and prepared for release in Melee, second only to Ganondorf, and it showed in his design. Now, videos have gone over his various flaws in much more depth. Awesome Sauce's video comes to mind, but to be brief, Game & Watch's primary shortcomings include a shield that does not really work in any reasonable capacity, and an inability to L-cancel certain aerials like his neutral air, back air, or up air. The impact of these design flaws on top of other unsavory attributes in competitive design like his slow movement pace or a very comboable weight make for a character that figureheads of the community commonly places firmly in the bottom tier of Melee's tier list. Now, this is a character who very reasonably should have accomplished nothing in Melee's competitive history. But if there's one thing I've learned about Melee, it's that it's about the players. And it's the dedicated Game & Watch players who throughout Melee's competitive history have had standout moments, stylish clips, and ultimately have helped not only shape my perspective of Melee, but for many others, the powerfully diverse competitive landscape that we have today. With everything we know, Game & Watch should be a character that rarely plays the game and instead watches as every character destroys him. Yet, perhaps instead of his weaknesses making him bad, they are simply the balances that prevent a major beast from taking over the Melee landscape. Despite being well into the bottom half of Melee characters, at least in the eyes of many community tier lists, Game & Watch is understood to have some incredible tools, especially in relation to the other characters that surround him. Let's talk about his neutral air. This parachute, a giant hitbox of a move, feels like it covers the entirety of Yoshi's story. You can cover recoveries, shark under platforms, follow up off grabs, and rest easy knowing that even if you can't L-cancel this move, it's a device of destruction and will ready to kill a space animal at absolutely absurd percents. Down air, often called the key, but originating from the game Donkey Kong Jr., I get it, because it is a key component in both Punish Game and finding openings. It has multiple great hitboxes that can spike downwards or pop above, be stylish, and provide a disjointed and fast-moving hit that current Game & Watches will edge cancel and make into a flurry of pressure. And we gotta talk about forward smash. I used to call this the torch, and this move lasts forever. There have been melee sets that are shorter than how long this move seems like it lingers. When you put it out in neutral, you'll find that a fox will dash dance and nair right into it. Put it at the edge and you'll catch so many different recoveries. And while it has a couple weak spots to it, it is certainly one of the most lethal F smashes in the game, and is more destructive than just pure power. And forward air. I thought it was maybe a director start scene thingy, and action, and then a clap. Maybe it was possibly from one of the games. For a while I thought it was a credit card. And if you look close enough to the screen, you can see the 3 numbers behind Sakurai's old credit card number. This move is a major killing tool for Game & Watch, and it's a common follow-up and combo finisher for him. This move stretches out horizontally so far. It's a hard-hitting hitbox, can connect into itself, and has been the bane of many opponents for years now. And in my mind, the holy grail, down tilt. Appropriately translated to manhole. It gives a low-profiled Game & Watch access to a reliable spamming combo starter from crouch that sends the opponent straight up in the air like Falco Shine or Roy down tilt, and allows for the combos or kill setups to begin. It can lead into grabs, it can lead into combo extensions, and can be a kill setup, or at high enough percents, of course, a kill on its own. So it doesn't really matter what weight or fall speed you are, down tilt will find you. Now I'm sure we can find utility in all of his kit. For example, his grabs, maybe it's just me, but I can never even tell what grab I'm being hit by. So correctly DIing these grabs can be luck of the draw if you're not intimately familiar with them. Even his normal getup, it's not even a move, can catch you off guard with how fast it is and lead into a whiff punish or reversal. Game & Watch has had shining glimpses of incredible potential with these parts of his kit throughout Melee's eras, and have pinnacled with a 2024 rise to some incredible victories with the current pilots of the character. Now, the video is not just to glaze his kit, because truthfully, he has his fair share of moves that do a little less than incredible things in your typical match. However, the point of this video is to see, with 2024 having some of Game & Watch's best performances, it's important to know how we got there. What has changed for Game & Watch? Who brought the character to these great heights? And for that, we need to begin by taking a step back. It's the 2000s. Nobody has heard of Fortnite. Minecraft is in its earliest inceptions. In New York State, Game & Watch main DireonFire is looking to make his mark at Cataclysm 3, one of the most notable Melee tournaments at the time. Little did we know that after this tournament concluded, DireonFire would place 9th at Cataclysm 3, placing amongst esteemed company such as Mewtwo King, Korean DJ, Chudat, and PC Chris, all hovering just above, creating a historic Melee victory alongside placing 9th at EVO East 2007 in some of Melee's earliest history Game & Watch can be found. And a notable mention to Omegablackmage, another Game & Watch player who placed 17th at Cataclysm 3. So even in the 2000s, the two-dimensional demon was present, and as we hit to the 2010s, another name would span across our eyes on screen, on Twitter, in clips. And his name was Qerb. Qerb, known for his good looks and better punish game, was the face of Game & Watch for several years. He scored several top 64 placements at huge Melee majors such as Gommel 2019, Super Smash Con 2019, and Pound 2019. He even received an honorable mention that year for Top 100, and that's the closest a Game & Watch rep has ever been to making Top 100. Something I learned about my research on the GOAT Qerb was his activity in Melee actually spanned almost that entire decade, with his early tournaments being in the beginning of 2010, so he's been refining his craft for a long time. I personally recall him having a crazy set win over the incredible Sheik HT with a clutch last stock posted to Twitter that began my fascination with how some players can pilot any character to greatness, even in the toughest of matchups and players. Qerb to me felt like a bridge. Watching figureheads between Dire from the earlier eras of Melee to Qerb, who seemed to carry the torch in some of the time where Melee got the most eyes on it, to the devoted Slippy era mains now, who are rising faster than ever to match the level of competition necessary in this era of Melee. Qerb left his mark, making content, wins, and clips all across the late 2010s, and as we got into the 2020s, we would start seeing the rise of a new era of dedicated Game & Watch players. From Florida, we had a Game & Watch Link dual main, Kuya, who was considered one of the best active Game & Watches and would rise to prominence in the wider North American Melee scene, especially in the last couple years, with various top 48 placements at several Melee majors in these more modern tournaments. I think Kuya's best result as far as purely objective statistical would show is a 25th at tipped off 14 Resurgence, in which he took Aklo to Game 5, only losing after being reverse 3-0'd, and a 33rd at Shine 2023 with a mix of Game & Watch and Link. And let's not forget about the UK Game & Watch, Squeachu, who's PR'd both in the UK Melee PR and also ranked 50 on the EU rankings for 2023. But maybe the most impressive achievement of all for Squeachu also happens to be a top-ranked Shrek Super Slam player, ranking second as a Dronky main in the Ultimate Slam rank for 2019. And little sidebar here, I had never heard of this game, or never heard of the rankings for this game before, but I watched a couple VODs afterwards and it's cool, so you should go check it out. And then we come across some names who have cemented Game & Watch in the 2024 history of Melee. But before I go any further talking about them, I just want to remind you to please check out wusstunes and their short video on the year of Game & Watch. I came across it while researching this video, and honestly, I didn't know about these results before I checked it out. It's incredibly well edited, so please watch the full thing on their channel. Thank you again to wusstunes for allowing me to learn from them. So now, the year is 2024. Mango is on his rise to number 1. Junebug has cemented DK as a top tier threat, making winners finals of a Melee tournament with DK. And Hungrybox is entering his 3rd detox of the year. Lurking beyond the hit pieces of Melee storylines for the year is a quiet, low rumbling sound. What could that be? You may not know what it is. You may not even hear it at first, but it's becoming louder and louder. The scene is Low Tide City, May 2024, Mother's Day weekend. With competition from both local and international coming together, the desire to win is in the air. And a perennial top 100 name from the UK, Frenzy, would be looking to cement his push for Melee greatness with some top-level wins, a feat he's accomplished numerous times in his lengthy Falco Melee career. Yet this Falco from Bristol would fall short on his noble pursuit when he ran into the Floridian Game & Watch player, Wal-Mart Shoes. Yes, his name is Wal-Mart Shoes. Number 4 on the South Florida PR for summer this year, he would go on to 3-0 Frenzy. Now, I can't find footage for this VOD, but he would go on to place 13th with a 3-0 on SSBM Rank's number 43 best Melee player of 2023. And if you thought that was all, something was in the air this Mother's Day. Game & Watch would strike again. A Game & Watch player who also dual mains Fox, named Glock in my Toyota, a versatile gamer with a knack for speedrunning Super Monkey Ball and making incredible gamer tags, would win a tournament over 43 others, using mainly Game & Watch to take out not only number 1 in New England Bonfire 10, as well as top 100 ranked Calvar, the 76th best player in the world, a Marth player, and 2 straight sets to win the tournament. So Mother's Day weekend would shatter the notion that a character ranked in the bottom 8 in the game can't upset some of the globally ranked best players in the world. And despite the somewhat humble histories of the best Game & Watches in the world, this 2-dimensional icon has only seen an incline of strong performances as the level of Melee has gotten tougher and tougher. Now, it's tempting to say that part of the rise of such talented Game & Watches are in part to the rise of Slippy and access to digital practicing tools, which have drastically improved high-level practice and training, scenarios, and thinking that has genuinely raised the overall skill of Melee community more than we'll ever know. However, I tried to practice my own Game & Watch to showcase some of my own footage and clips for this video, and while I do have some of that footage playing now, I really empathize what it's like to play Game & Watch in Unranked. It was a sea of taunting, BM, disrespects, and disconnects. It was very shocking. And so, whether it's Axe with Pikachu, Amza with Yoshi, Junebug with DK, or Wal-Mart Shoes with Game & Watch, there is something endlessly exciting about seeing the beautifully diverse competitive landscape we have in top-level Melee. And it expands to so many different parts of the Melee tier list, constantly defying expectations and highlighting what players are capable of, even when the competition from Melee is at the highest it's ever been. My question for all of you, who do you think is going to be the next character to have their time in the spotlight? What do you think Game & Watch is capable of? And what type of video do you want to see next? I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I appreciate sticking around if you've made it this far. I've been enjoying making content for everybody. I know it's not a job of any kind, but know that I appreciate it so much. Take care, and thanks for watching.